What's going on, all you beautiful people? It is I, Akemi TCG, or Akemi Plays. Follow me at Twitch, down on the right, or the left. I think the camera's reversed. Anyways, the ban list just came out yesterday. So, what ended up happening was, I woke up at 6 in the morning today, and for whatever reason, I decided to update my Crusadia deck for the ban list. So, a little bit of backstory with this. I've won a lot of locals with the following build. This is a Crusadia Guardragon control build. So if you're looking for extremely combo base to the level of Safer Thunder, which actually doesn't even really exist anymore, then this is probably not it. Just before I get into the deck profile, a lot of the plays are relatively linear, and there are a lot of choke points to the deck, which I will discuss at the end of the video. But let's get right into it. So here's the deck profile. I have 3 Crusadia Maximus. This is going to be 40 cards because you want an ending board that is as consistent as possible. You want the same combo every time, or something similar to that effect. Rem is going to be a field center card. For the day, I do make these, so if you guys are interested, let me know. 3 Crusadia Maximus, 3 Crusadia Leonis. You're playing the whole Crusadia package. You need to open a Crusadia. It's mandatory. It's so hard to play, almost impossible to play if you do not open a Crusadia. So out of the regional I went to, which was 9 rounds, I only bricked once, which is literally on round 9, game 3. So that cost me that game, unfortunately. 3 Leonis, 3 Lacruzia, 3 Draco, and 3 Arborea. Again, mandatory. What I love about Crusadias, it goes around a lot of the meta relevant stuff that was in the past format. I'm not sure if people are going to still play it, but there can only be one. It's a really good example. For other decks that use goes and match or rivalry, this is pretty bad against it. Zombies is a really good example. Like, if you don't pop their zombie world, then you're gonna have a really bad time. So you need to play the whole package there. Next, you play a little bit of the Familiar Engine. Because Atazot has been banned, I cut down the Familiar Engine. This is heavily inspired by TeamCOG. I will link their video down below of their last build for this deck that basically ran the Familiar Engine. If you do not know what the Familiar Engine is, it's the Renryus, the Gigabytes, the Inari Fire, and Nefarious Archfiend Eater of Nefariousness. And these can all be special summoned onto the field if you control a spellcaster monster, just for free. So if you have a Reclusia, for example, if you have a Reclusia on board, you can special summon them for free from your hand. But more importantly, it's when you have Magius on board that it becomes free. So this is really neat. Really do like this package. The reason why you play 2 Renryu is, of course, for the Guardragon plays. You need more dragon targets. And because you're playing Guardragons, I am playing Red Ice Darkness Metal Dragon. And then the White and Black Dragon combo. White Dragon Wyvern Buster and Black Dragon Call-Up Serpent. To be honest, there's not too many dark monsters, so you have to be really careful about this. The only dark monsters you play are Red Mad, the Black Dragon Call-Up Serpent, and the 2 Rocket Tracers that you play. Those are the only dark monsters you play. So there's a high chance if you open this, it's brick. Super brick. If you open this, 9 times out of 10 it's not brick, because you can go into Crusadia Magius. Just a little forewarning, that's all. I have considered cutting it for a different card, but I have to heavily think about what I'd cut it for. Of course, 1 Gamma Seal. This is your main control card. Basically, you're playing the field spell, Kaiji Waterfront, and you practically want that live at all times. So you practically have at least 3 negates on board, and potentially more, depending on what the opponent does on their turn. Because I'm playing 2 Rocket Tracers, I am playing 3 Quick Launch. I do like it at 3-2 rather than 2-1. When you have it at 2-1, the biggest issue is that Rocket Tracer in your hand, that becomes a permanent brick unless you somehow summon Star Yugioh. But because that's a brick in your hand, let's say you open one quick launch and one tracer in your hand. If you only play one tracer, you have to play with a 3-card hand, which is incredibly hard considering the amount of hand traps that are out there and also impermanence. So I think the 3-2 combo is better, and a lot of people tend to hit this with Ash just because it's a really threatening card. So it's pretty neat. And also for defensive plays, you can set it. This comes out, this is pretty niche, but when it comes to it, it's good. You can set it, flip it, special summon a rocket monster in defense, so you can take a little bit less damage, and it could potentially not cost you the game. And of course, 3 Kyoto Waterfront Kaiju Waterfronts. You build counters on these for your Gamma Seal. 1 Monster Reborn, the card's just really good. The World Legacy combo, Succession and Guardragon. Because I am playing a trap card that I will feature in just a second, I play both, and I do like both. 1 Reinforcement of the Army for Arborea. So instead of playing 15 Crusadias, you have 16, so slightly more consistent, and that's exactly what you want. 1 Terraforming for the field spells that you want. 2 Call Buys. Because we do not have Azathoth anymore in this deck is more prone to getting hit by Ash. And if somebody ashes the LP, your turn's over. There's no turn. That's it. So Call By is really good. I considered playing Crusadia Power, however, a lot of smart players, they know to hit the LP, especially if I'm going into Spava. So a lot of people know that format. So Call By is hypothetically better, and also you can interrupt your opponent plays with it, so very good. And Crusadia Crawler for the main play, the bread and butter. Next for our extra deck, we have 2 Wolves, Crusadia Magius. You have to play 2 Crusadia Magius just because, just in case one doesn't work out, then you do have another, which is great. Or else you're forced to recycle it with Draco. Crusadia Spava, 1 of those, and Crusadia Regulux. And then Crusadia Equimax. So this is, I firmly believe this is the correct ratio. You only ever summon 1 Equimax in a duel, and from what I've seen, 9 times out of 10, if your opponent does not have Dark Ruler no more, and I summon Equimax with Gamma Seal and the Waterfront on board, they cannot break that board. It's so hard to break that board unless they have like a 3300 Kaiju. Again, Gamma Seal is at 3300 defense because you summon it under Star Yugioh. They have to get an attack buff to run over the Kaiju in order for it not to be a threat. So it's something you guys have to seriously consider. That's why I only run 1 Equimax. This isn't a 1-punch build. Again, this is a control going first build. And also 1 Abramax. And the great part about this whole package is that at any point, let's say you're putting in like a disadvantageous position by having Equimax on the field, you can sack it to go back into Magius and then go into your different links. Whatever ones you need, you can go for those. So that's that package. Obviously, LP and Pisty, they are not dead. Yes. I don't think they will be after Aggro Pain got hit. And then 2 Skull Dreads. Because the main point of this deck, you want to dig for Waterfront. Waterfront is your pride and soul. If you don't have Waterfront, it becomes a lot harder to make a really strong established board. And that's the only board you really care about when you're going first. 1 Hieratic Seal of Heavenly Spheres. If you somehow, for some reason, cannot summon Equimax, on your turn you can summon Spheres and Gamma Seal, and it's still a really good board too. And also, since you tribute itself, you get another counter on Waterfront after you tribute itself. And 1 Link Spider. Reason why you play a Link Spider is Nibiru. I played it prior when I had Azathoth in the deck, because when you get Azathotted, or when you summon Nyarla, you summon Nyarla at exactly 5 summons every time. If they have Nibiru, they have to Nibiru at Nyarla before you go into Azathoth. So the follow-up play would be You summon Link Spider, you go off. 9 times out of 10, you're gonna have another Crusadia in your hand or an extender in your hand. You summon it, and then you just keep going off. That's it. Because if they Nibiru you at that point, you've already got that Search for Magia, so you're guaranteed to continue your play. And then the Synchros. Draco Berserker, the 10E. I've won so many games with this. Thank you, TeamCOG, for recommending this. This card is insanely strong. A lot of cards don't resolve properly because the monsters get banished, and this guy can attack twice if it chomps a monster. So it's really good. And because we don't have Nyarla and Azathoth, I am playing Borlo Savage Dragon. There are a lot of options I could have done. I could have played Utopia Double. I could have played a small Sky Striker engine, but I do like Borlo Savage Dragon. Just because you're having the option of either choosing another multi-negate or a monster banish. Both of those are very viable options. And also, Savage Dragon gets really big too. Especially if you put Saryuja under it, becomes a 4400 beater, so you can't scoff at that. And Cerberus Quantum Dragon. This is going to be a new tech I'm going to try out. I'll update this deck accordingly if it doesn't work out, but I believe this card is so underrated. Nobody talks about this card, and I have no idea why. So for all of you who don't know what this does, is while you control Link monsters, your opponent controls cannot target monsters you control for attacks except for this one. So your ending board can be, let's say, Equimax, Gamma Seal, and Cerberus Quantum Dragon, right? Your opponent's kind of stuck. They have to attack into Cerberus Quantum Dragon. And if they do that, it has another effect. Once per turn, at the start of the damage step, just a once per turn, if this card battles a monster, so if it's attacked or it attacks it, you can return that monster to the hand. Does not target, non-targeting, return to the hand. And this card can attack again in a row. So, bam, bounce, and attack directly for 25. Or if they're trying to go against it, then that's another issue too. Another lock you could do, because this card opens your deck up to a lock. I'm not Skuldred, my bad. Still very early in the morning. Crusadia Abramax. Crusadia Abramax says that your opponent cannot target cards. Monsters cannot target monsters for attacks except for this one. And this one also says the same thing. If you have these two on board, your opponent cannot attack. Guys, tell me that's not good. Tell me that's not good. For a level 7, so you can summon off of Arborea. A lot of people forget that Arborea is a tuner. You can go Arborea and Maximus, and that's a free Cerberus Quantum. Or Arborea in any of the level 4 extenders. Or even Rocket Tracer and Leonis. So, like, you have so many ways to get a level 7 on board. And I firmly believe this card will be very good. That's it for the extra deck. I am considering a lot of different builds for this, but this is my current build. I will have a side deck right here. Also, any improvements to the deck video, please let me know. This is my first time I've ever done a deck profile in like 10 years, so. 2 Black Garden. Your whole entire focus of this deck is to go first. If you go first, you win the dice roll and you go first, or if your opponent's playing going second deck and they cannot break your board, they do not want you to go first. So the whole side deck, from bottom to top, is all about going second. So Black Garden gives your opponent a ton of tokens. You can just multi-punch. You don't even need Maximus for this. Just Black Garden in their field, give them 4 or 5. Some smart players, they know not to summon monsters against Crusadia because they're scared of the spell that lets them attack all their monsters. So they just leave an open field. This gives them a field. This populates their field. And that becomes a big issue for them. And you can run over everything. Sometimes, even with Equimax, you only have to hit 1 monster to win. Equimax, Maximus, that's going to be 36, 41. Oh, never mind, I lied. You have to hit at least 2 monsters. Unless you have something else here that lets you add 4,000 to Maximus. So I'm thinking this card is going to be really good this format. I'm going to try it out, see if I really like it. The Kaiju package. And just reasons for these. These guys are the biggest Kaijus and also least likely to be, what is it, Super Poly? Because Super Poly is still at 3. Just a heads up, guys. So I didn't want to play the Dark Kaiju. I didn't want to play the Wind Kaiju just because you don't get enough attack. Like sometimes you need that 3k under your Maximus to go for game. So this is the closest one. And the reason why I'm playing the Thunderstrike Kaiju is because a lot of people do not know about its next ability. It says, once per turn you can remove 3 Kaiju counters from anywhere on the field. Your opponent's cards and effects cannot be activated for the rest of the turn. That means if you have Thunder King and you go for what's it called? Waterfront, and you have 3 counters on it, remove 3 counters, the whole entire turn is done. You can guarantee death with this card. Guaranteed. It's a cold wave, but so much better. Once this resolves, they're dead. I guarantee you, there's no way they're going to survive that turn. And Slumber, obviously, and Doggerman. You're very unlikely to draw into 2 Kaijus in one turn. At least in turn 2, so the Slumber package is fine. And also, if that does happen, then you can just start Yugioh it back, hopefully. But you put in Revival, just so you can kind of curveball that play. You don't necessarily have to go into Star Yugioh. And also, do not make the mistake of going to Star Yugioh when you don't need to. If you have game, go for the game. Go for the 1-punch. That's the safest option. 3 Twin Twisters. Now that Red Reboot is at 1, you get more bang for your buck out of using Twin Twisters. That's the bottom line. I know a lot of people will play Waking the Dragon, but regardless, even if you Cosmic Cyclone the Waking the Dragon, then you're still going to get wrecked anyways. So I'll take that risk. Let's see Kaiju. 3 Infinite Impermanence. For anybody that still plays the Vanity Fiend engine, it kind of really does hurt. So you want to just drop this at someone. If they have any monster floodgates like Inspector Border, you can just drop it on them. So it's a really good option to go to. Best card in the format in my opinion still. 1 Red Reboot, sadly. Only get 1. It's really sad because everybody played 3. And last tech is 2 Mind Control. So they play like a deck that you can target. I'm trying to think, like Avermax. I have no issues getting over Avermax because you can just Avermax it, or you just Gamma Seal and just run it over. It's good for Colossus. Anyways, the reason why I play this Mind Control package is if they have something on board that's a big threat, let's say like a Endymion or a Cerberus, then you Mind Control it just to bait them out. They don't have any choice but to negate the Mind Control or try to avoid this from happening. So it's also at 2 now, so still very good card. Anyways, that is it. Hope you all enjoyed this video. I do want to give it again a shout out to TeamCOG for providing the basis of this deck. I really enjoyed playing Crusadias. That was actually the reason why I got back into Yu-Gi-Oh! So maybe if somebody could shout him out, that would be fantastic. Alright y'all, I'm Akemi TCG. Hope you all enjoyed. Stay beautiful, and good luck out there in the regionals and any tournaments any of you go into. Any comments, put them down below. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed. See you guys.
The world ends now.